8th Street Northeast is one of DC's major corridors. Today it is filled with businesses and people and known as one of the city's hippest neighborhoods. In the last few years, it has changed dramatically as more people moved in, a demographic shift went underway, and restaurants opened.
8th Street's a nice place. I've been living in the area for about 3 years. Moved up here from Florida, and it's completely different from what I know.
Been there my whole life. I like 8th Street. Love it. Love the area.
Okay.
So I like 8th Street because a lot of it's been changing. I mean, in even the 7 months I've been here.
In the midst of this story are restaurateurs like Carlos Leopold, who opened Boundary Road just a few years back.
Okay, I'm Carlos Leopold. I own Boundary Road Restaurant and opening up Nido Restaurant in Woodridge, DC. Getting into the restaurant industry when I was living abroad. I had fallen in love with pub culture in London and decided that it was something that I wanted to give it a try. So when I came back to Washington, DC, I decided to do what I had to do to kind of like learn everything about it because I had never worked in the restaurant industry before. So Boundary Road, the story behind Boundary Road is that I had been working at the Reef for a while and decided that I needed now to do what I had planned on, which was open up a restaurant. So we started working together and we started trying to figure out what we wanted, where we wanted, and decided on 8th Street. 8th Street itself was still, at the time, kind of still developing, and was, especially in the area we were on the west side of 8th Street, closer to Union Station. And after some time of developing menus and names and coming together with ideas about what we wanted to do, Boundary Road finally came into fruition in 2012.
I ain't going back where I came from. Been treated like a rat where I came from. Put the money in the bag and put the bat down, and I'll get out of here. Ain't the time to be a hero. Ain't the time to act up. Nobody better hold me down. So please shut up. Nobody moves and nobody gets hurt. 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 I ain't going back where I came from. Been treated like trash where I came from. Feel alive in the street and it feels good. Now my vision is clear. I just need a little something to get back up on my feet.
8th Street has changed a lot since we opened. Even in the short time, we opened in 2012, and we just celebrated our 3rd year on 8th Street. And even since then, we've seen maybe 5 or 6 restaurants open on just our end of 8th Street alone, not to mention the other side of 8th Street, past 8th Street.
So there's a lot of residential stuff that I think is building up. I mean, there's like 2 high-rise apartments that are right down the street.
I've seen coffee shops come and go. I've seen pizza places come and go. I've seen a whole lot of abandoned buildings it's bringing forth a new life, I guess.
I've been around here since the 60s. So, change that they made is tremendous. The nightlife, more people, more shops, more businesses.
We've seen 8th Street grow in terms of the quality of food. We have increased in terms of quality, and the food that's being produced by those restaurants have essentially been, top quality food coming out of the city. 8th Street also has, in terms of development, if you look around it, that street now, there were boarded buildings everywhere. Now you have to look for a boarded building to see if you can even possibly build something there. We got a Whole Foods coming to us 2 blocks away, which, you know, in areas like that, is a defining, you know, point in change.
I like to change because I live close by and I'm able to afford the rent around it. I think if it gets to the point where it's really expensive and it forces the local people like yourself and you can't pay for it, that would be detrimental.
Well, I mean, gentrification means what it means. I mean, if you're gonna have more money coming somewhere, it's gonna be more white people.
Back in the 60s and 70s, it was predominantly black, but now it's a mixed culture.
As a business owner, I view the changes as positive. You know, that particular part of the city was demolished essentially after the riots in '69. So it's been a long time. It's taken a long time for that part of the city to rebound. So it's hard for I think for anyone to say that, you know, that it's happening too soon or it's happening too fast or it's not good that it's happening to this part of the city. I think Boundary Road improves the neighborhood because we actually brought something to that street that we just didn't exist. A sit-down place, a sit-down restaurant where you can call your own neighborhood spot. A Street had plenty of restaurants and had plenty of bars, but I think that a lot of those bars kind of appeal to a certain age group that I think Boundary Road also encompasses, but also appeals to an older generation as well. You know, we get people in there who are, you know, in early 20s all the way to their, to their late 50s and 60s. We cater to a larger group of people.
Restaurants like Boundary Road are intertwined with the changes occurring on 8th Street and the gentrification occurring all over the city. Whether gentrification is good or bad is a complex issue, but it is certain that restaurants increase the monetary value of housing in a neighborhood and physically change the landscape of a street.
The relationship between gentrification and restaurants, I think it's an old relationship actually. You know, the restaurants have been around in DC in those areas way before gentrification. So there's a kind of in my opinion, a relationship in terms of maybe the kind of restaurant that goes in there. If it's a sit-down restaurant or if it's kind of like to-go restaurant, is it a kind of a fast turn restaurant or just a place where you kind of sit down and enjoy where you're eating and what you're eating. But I think gentrification is leading to the restaurants just becoming more available, more options becoming available for the residents of the area.